Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I want you to join me on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the Tru Mu Podcast. True Music. That's where we talk about all things.
I'm a musician, singer, songwriter, producer, engineer.
All things creative.
Me and my co-host, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one, will be glad to hear you, glad to talk to you, answer your questions, and talk all things music. The Tru Mu Podcast, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Be part of the energy.
I can see that thing that makes men stop, stand still, all in denial, suffer loss of will.
All right, it's that time again, folks. The Tru Mu Podcast, where we talk about all things creative, all things innovative. Yes, we talk about music, but what I learned is that there's creativity in all aspects of life. And if you are or are not careful, you might learn something. Carl T. Smith, what's going on, sir?
What's up?
It's all good.
Man, you know,
Good.
same old SOS, right?
So what's up with that shirt, man? I've never seen that shirt before. This is me. That's from
Oh, really?
Which album is that from?
This is me. Do I have
doubt.
one?
Second, third,
Second.
fourth, fifth? Second album?
Well, second after. You know, I did the whole cassettes and CDs and stuff, but yeah. This
What's a
this
cassette?
is
What's
me. That's one of them things that you used to.
I can't even say it with a straight face. I know, right? I tell you, man. Those were the, that's a good song to redo. Those were the days, my friend. I thought
Yes, they never end.
end. Maybe do it with a twist. Update the instruments, put a little soul in it, some swag in it.
There you go.
But today, from what I understand, we're talking about gigging, man. We're talking about the performance, the whole shebang, everything that goes along with the gig. And I know we've both been fortunate enough recently to be out there performing, on a fairly frequent basis. And over the years, we've been doing this on and off and on and on and, recording and all this stuff. So I guess it's something that we know a little bit about, so why not talk about
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, right. So here's the craziest question, because I'm gonna answer it too, but I want to ask you first. What do you like about gigging, man? What do you like about performing?
The list, yeah, no, love it. The list is long. I think the biggest thing is connecting with the audience. If you while you're out there doing what you do or what you love, you connect with the audience, and if they like what you're doing, that is the highlight of the whole thing, being performing live and all that other stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Sometimes though, sometimes it can get kind of crazy, but it's the process also.
What do you say crazy? What do you mean by that? Well,
sometimes things aren't set up on time. Sometimes people are unprepared, or sometimes it's always an adventure.
Right. So, and that's another thing, I know for me, what I like about gigging is actually just being able to execute whatever the song is, because normally we're going to do songs or perform songs, is a better way of saying it, that we like, that we feel we do well, that we have some inkling of an idea that either people like the song because we already know that they have an interest in it, they've heard it before, or if it's our own original material, we're introducing it to people and we look forward to performing that song. So that's part of what I like about it, in addition to maybe performing it with the other actors in the group, the musicians or the singers or dancers, whatever it may be. I enjoy all that, probably because of how we grew up, watching and learning from the pioneers. To me, it was just fascinating. I remember being at home, and yeah, we had color TV, but a lot of things were black and white because when we grew up, all the greats, they performed in a very specific, it was like a formula. You think about the standards and the show tunes, and you had the dancers here and the singers and then the musicians and the background singers, and it was like so polished. It was like fascinating. It was like almost like a magic show. And as a kid, a little kid watching it on TV in a movie or as a quote unquote live performance, it was just like, wow. And that sucked me up, man. And, I was fortunate enough that I guess I had some talent. I mean, my family was doing it already. So I felt like I want to do that too. And that's what I really, got into, singing. And, I really just relished at the idea of being able to perform, and of course, here's another question for you, but if you have something to respond to it, that's fine. But here's a question for you. The guy that I'm talking to right now, is this the same guy that did this back in the day?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
So does this guy feel the same way that the other guy did about performing?
Yeah, feel the same way. But over time you learn stuff, you get educated, and over time you realize certain things. The reason why I do it is different than the reason why I wanted to do it before. Before I wanted to do it, basically, I want to be famous and I want to meet girls and I want to,
Sure.
But as the years go by, and especially if you have an opportunity to do, some stuff on a larger scale, you realize it's a business.
Yeah.
So which then make you look at it differently, make you, want to work it differently and stuff like that. So, but love is still the same. Just have different, shooting for something different, a different target.
Is it me, or is it like a relationship with music? Like it's like an actual personal relationship, being involved with music all these years,
Well, I've been mixing and doing all, getting some stuff for the new album. And on the album, this album, I have a song called D Melody. I'm in love with D Melody.
Okay.
That's the song. I'm in love with D Melody. And most people will probably think that it's about some woman or somebody, but I'm in love with the melody.
Sure.
I'm in love with music. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really is. It's a relationship.
So
it's a relationship.
Have you ever cheated on the melody?
Oh, listen, you still cheating on D Melody.
Absolutely, guilty as charged. Yeah, I have. And for those of you that are just joining us, we're talking about gigging. We're both musicians, singers, songwriters, producers, event planners, event coordinators. We've done the gamut. Only thing I have not done that Carl does, he is a stage manager as well as an engineer. Well, I guess I do a little bit, but I'm still not as good or as in depth as he is. And we're talking about gigging and cheating on music as if music is a relationship, a person. When you've been doing it as long as we have, and for those maybe that are younger, you might feel the same way. I asked Carl, has he ever cheated? And he said, yeah, because you cheating too. And he's right. And when I say cheating, for me, cheating on music is not giving music the time it deserves, for me at times, taking shortcuts, but also taking shortcuts is also wisdom, because there are times when you have to do things not the formal way, but you still want to achieve the goal. So if you've learned other ways of achieving the goal in a performance or singing a song, sometimes you have to do that, whether it's because you got a cold, the sound system isn't good. I mean, you do what you have to do to make things work. And I know for me, a lot of times my cheating just came from laziness. And I took my youth for granted. You know, I figured I could just do whatever. I don't have to rehearse as much because, you know, I know this song like the back of my hand, and then all of a sudden you get out there and it's like, oh snap. Oh, what's the next phrase? You know, so but it's still fun.
You know? Well, that's the fun part. Trying to make it to the end. so at the end of the night you go, we made it. It's done.
I tell you, man, and I mean, I don't know, like you said, when things go wrong, I mean, there's a gazillion things can go wrong. I don't know, but for you ever got cheated out of a gig where you're supposed to get paid and you didn't get paid?
Oh, I mean, sure.
That's that paying dues, huh?
That's part of it, man. Yeah, absolutely. You kind of well, the thing. Let's see how you. Those kind of things happen more frequent on smaller gigs, on lower gigs. The larger gigs. When I say larger gigs, I'm talking. What do you call it? What do you call it? Yeah, the Beacon, stuff. Well, no, it happens then too. It happens there, but usually a lot of times on those kind of gigs, it's contract out. So no way, no matter what, you're gonna go through. They're gonna pay you because they don't want to go to court and they don't want to go through whatever. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but I remember doing a gig at the Beacon Theater, man, with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. I think it was did I do that more than once? But anyway, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes showed up, right? They were the headliner. And of course, this is when Harold was still alive. And people was in the audience waiting for the show to start. And he came out there with the group and he was like, nah, we here, but they don't want to pay us. Now I don't know who the promoter was, but it was at the Beacon, and somebody in the audience was like, well, y'all just go ahead and come on, do the show, right? And I don't recall seeing any musicians, so I think it may have been a track day. But then they started hemming and hawing, and then somebody else in the audience was like, y'all was performing before y'all had all that fancy equipment, and I think they may have done like, if you don't know me by now, they did a little bit of that. Teddy was gone. He wasn't part of the group at this point. He was doing his own thing. But even in bigger venues, well-known establishments, I guess it can happen,
it happens. It's just that sometimes it's just a little more organized, they prepare a little better. Usually when it happens is that the count is not, the audience is not there, right. Whatever, that kind of thing like that. But as years have progressed, people are more prepared and stuff like that, and they have insurance and all that other stuff for things right. like that.
What is one of the or what has been, and one of the biggest challenges, or what has gone wrong? What's one of your biggest challenges or something going wrong for a gig?
For a gig, as far as performer,
You have a show and something goes wrong. What was like one of the worst things, or stories, whatever?
well, let's see. The list is so long. The list is so. I remember doing the Cotton Club at the time.
Okay.
Cotton Club, and I was told to practice practice a routine, and this is back when I was younger. You know, I'm 21 now, so it was way back till I had to been about 6 or 7 years old, which means I was about 20 something years old, and I'm thinking I got it together. I ain't got to practice. There's no problem, you know, whatever. And I get there and completely messed up the routine.
Wow.
Completely messed up the routine. And
as far as playing, or it's the singing part?
It was actually steps.
Oh, okay.
It was actually steps. You know, the singing went all right. The singing was okay, but it was just the steps, and totally botched that bad boy up. And there's video on it, and I got the only copy, and nobody's gonna ever see it.
How much would it cost to show that, man?
You ain't listen here.
Was it a 3-man, a 4-man? How many pieces? How many singers?
I had 4 girls dancing with me.
Okay.
And routine was hot, you know, and knew how to do everything, knew how to do the steps, knew how to do. But something happened on that day that it just kind of went left, you know. But like everything else,
like a mental block.
It had to have been some kind of mental block or something. You know, something didn't go through, but it was, you know, one of those kind of things that went wrong. And I go, I'll never want to do that again.
I think you got to redeem yourself, man. You gotta do that over, where you can make up for that, man. Neutralize it, man.
Now ain't no neutralizing it. It's just, you know.
I think for me, it probably was sound, because we never, you know, younger in my career, we didn't have an engineer. We would all just bring our speakers or PA system, plug up and play, and rely on each other to play at a level that was right. And I think that was one of the biggest curses early on in my career, not being able to hear yourself. Now, the benefit was, you know, you young vittles, you got tender vittles, but they strong and durable. So like that rubber band, they can stretch, and you may not have realized if you were doing damage to yourself. So you're trying to out-sing speakers and instruments, but that was probably, excuse me, the biggest thing that has gone wrong. And of course, you know, they're not getting paid, somebody like skipping out on you, and you know, you ready to break down, and all of a sudden you're looking for the guy, and the guy's long gone. It's like, oh snap. And you ticked off because, you know, but yeah, I think that has been one of my biggest challenges. And then I know sometimes with other artists, other performers, a part of your unit, either them being nervous and scared and not doing their part, because I mean, you kind of figure, hey, this is what we do. So what makes this performance different from any other one? But if you're doing it where people are so close to you, they can just actually touch you. For some people, that's too close. They need to be up on a platform. You know,
you shouldn't be performing, because that's part of the whole thing, you know. Really.
Some people need that liquid courage, you know.
Nah.
That was never.
I know, because now you talking about this, I said I know. I could think of at least 3 performances that when I came out, the mic wasn't working.
Oh, yeah.
The mic isn't working. I mean, I when I did Dole Center, the mic wasn't working. When we did Rafael Hernandez, the mic wasn't working. You know, I think it's conspiracy, but that's all right.
I tell you, man. So how do you, not just showing up for the show, how do you prepare for a gig? What is preparation for a show, a gig? What does that look like for you?
Well, doing what? Performing or doing sound or
the show is tomorrow. The show is tomorrow, and the show is. Let's say the show is Saturday, and obviously today is Tuesday. Between now and Saturday, like, what's your routine? What do you do?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm performing, I'm getting all of the stuff together, the instruments, the music together if it's a track, or rehearse with the band, or hopefully the band knows what they're doing. I always try to not have or do anything the day before, but that never works out. I try not to do that, but that never works out. So I'm giving up on that. And then, try to get some rest, because a lot of times I'm exhausted. By the time I perform, I'm exhausted, because usually I'm doing I got everything going. I'm doing the sound. I got the sound, the lights, the whole thing, because I want to put on a big production. So by the time I perform, I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to do all that stuff if I have to perform, and I don't even think I can hold myself to it. But
those are lies, man.
Yeah. I don't think I can hold myself to it, but
and that's what I was kind of alluding to. I didn't want to really say it, but I think I may be a lot like you. Is like, for example, today is Tuesday. I've got a show Saturday. So the good thing for this show, they have their own sound. But still, if you want to record it, you got to make sure you got your camera stand, memory card, extra batteries. Their sound system is pretty decent, but I have a wireless mic system, because the last time I went there, I didn't know it, but they gave me a wired mic, and I like a wireless mic. So I have a system that can plug into their system and allow me to be wired. Now, I don't know if they're going to let me use it, but I'm going to have it just in case. My clothes, what I'm going to wear. If I should change my mind, at least 2 sets of clothes, or something that can work with the same top or the same bottom, and then to have it like cleaned and prepared, and the suitcase is ready. I have everything laid out days ahead of time, because I don't want to think 24, 48 hours. I don't want to think about none of it. I just want to go out and do the show, man. And it doesn't always seem to work that way, but that's part of how I prepare. But I don't rest. You spoke about rest. I don't usually rest well, because
he's frozen too.
No, you were frozen for a moment. Yeah, but you're good now.
I don't know what's happening. I didn't touch anything.
I was gonna say the name of your device, but I didn't want
to. Good now?
Yeah.
I didn't touch anything. All of a sudden.
But yeah, man, rest. I know I need it, but I never seem to be able to get it. I can't relax enough to get rest before a show.
Yeah, nah. I know you talk about clothes. I had a gig. I had clothes laid out a whole week. I had about 5 outfits a whole week, and I go and I'm doing the gig and stuff, and again I'm doing all this other stuff. I'm bringing in sound and doing the whole 9 yards and stuff. And I go to the dressing room to get dressed, and there's no clothes. I left the clothes home.
Yeah, don't you just love that?
I left the clothes home. Had everything else but the clothes. Left them home, man.
I tell you, it's amazing, and that's why I tell people don't do it if you don't love it, because there's so much that goes into it, and if you love it, and you're excited about it, and it's fun, and all these things wrapped all up into one experience is like, for some people, I'm sure it's exhausting, and it's exhausting for me too. But I'm just a slave to it. I don't know what to say. I can't get enough. Hard-headed.
I keep telling people I'm too dumb to quit.
This is my last gig. I ain't doing this no more. When's the next one? Next week? Okay.
That's me. That's me. That's all the time.
So let me ask you this, like, in between, the show's over, right? You may have another show a week later, a month later. Okay. What do you do in between gigs, man? Like, what's your day or your days like? What do you do in between performances?
Well, I mean, it depends on most of the time. There's always something that I have to do, whether it's tweak equipment. I'm always recording. I'm always working on some type of recording or especially back then, I had the label going, so I was always like recording and had some small studio thing going on and had people come in and record and stuff, which I got to release that stuff again. But it's always, right, always trying to finish something. That's my whole thing, trying to finish things.
I mean, well, you've done a lot, so it's not that you're trying to. You have finished a lot of things, but in between, like, for instance, I know right now you're doing some gigs by yourself, and you're doing some gigs with Leon and the Peoples. So in between a gig from one city to the next city with Leon and the Peoples, you go back to your personal endeavors, for under the Carl T. Smith brand. So, like, are you still recording with, for yourself?
Still recording, still working on some stuff, still mixing, checking some equipment for some sound gigs that's coming up.
Okay.
Trying to unstop a tub.
Oh, really? You mean you got to do life? You got to do life in between?
Trying to unstop a tub. Regular old stuff.
But I thought you celebrities that you didn't have to do all that regular people stuff, man.
You see, that's where you got it wrong. You're the celebrity. I'm just a regular person.
Oh man, and I think that's something that, in general, people don't realize. Like, if you could be a fly on the wall, I mean, and not being sexual or anything like that, but I wonder what Rihanna does from day to day, or what Beyonce does, or what Jay-Z does, or what is Johnny Gill doing right now? I mean, whatever, whomever. We're regular people, or they're regular people as well. So
yeah,
do they do dishes? Or does you have a chef, and someone's washing dishes, and a maid, and shoot.
I don't think so. Nah. No, knowing what I know and being around who I've been around, nope. You think so, but no, they're doing
what
dishes.
John Legend say, we're just ordinary people, right?
Yep. They're doing dishes. They're doing all the regular stuff.
So where are you on, because I don't know the names of all of your gear, but where are you on equipment? Are you interested in, or are you upgrading some equipment sometimes also in your personal studio? Are you working with new gear and new software? And are you doing any of those things? What's your production stuff
Yeah,
like?
I'm working on some new stuff, some new gear, some some stuff that some stuff that's coming out and some things that's working. But as far as recording, I'm using my old gear. I get a sound. What usually happens with me is that I get a sound that people accept, and then when you have to change some of your stuff, you change softwares and stuff like that, the sound changes. So I kind of stick with as far as the recording, some old stuff, but I'm using some new things to work out. Some new stuff to make things a lot better.
So you don't better. You don't think that no, I mean, I know it's subjective and every artist does what they want or producer does what they want. Do you think that the equipment that is being used today, stuff you might hear on the radio, the instrumentation, is it better than the older instrumentation or better than the older processes? Whether it's a board or software, a keyboard, whatever, do you think there's a difference in the sound quality?
No, I don't think there's a difference in the sound quality. I think there's a difference in the execution. I think, a lot of the newer stuff is kind of set up or kind of made for people not familiar with doing certain things. So, for instance, if there's a certain sound or a certain instrument that that you want to use, the newer stuff will come out with these combinations of instruments and things that that you want to use. But for me, I would make that instrument, and then I can shape it any way that I want, rather than just getting it the way it is.
So you take your sound library and you personally modify the sound according to what you want or need.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here's another thing. Even though people use it for different reasons, where are you on the whole auto-tune thing? Because I know a lot of people use it for pitch correction, but they made a style of it a while back with T-Pain and Jamie Foxx, alcohol, blaming on the alcohol and stuff like that. Are you a fan of auto or pitch correction?
I don't use it at all. I don't use it at all. But I don't dislike it. I guess if because there are people who need it, and it still don't help, but they need it. But I think you use technology. It's a tool. You use it to help you to enhance whatever it is that you want to do. And I think that any tool that you need to use, I think you should use it to better whatever it is that you do. But yeah, I don't use an auto tune. I just keep singing out of key. I don't care.
Oh man. Okay. So when you hear, for example, I guess artists that have been in the business 20 years or so, and I'm trying to think of an example of somebody who, I'll just go back to Johnny Gill, for example. The stuff he did when he first came out, Perfect Combination with Stacey Lattisaw, or the early stuff he did with New Edition, versus the stuff he's done on his own platform. Is it wise to try to update your sound, or should the experienced seasoned artist just update the instrumentation or the arrangement, but still allow the original sound, vocal sound, to remain the same, but dress up the music around them? What's your take on that?
Well, I think the production, dress up the sound around your because that's your trademark. I mean, whether he's singing with New Edition or he's singing with Stacey Lattisaw, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is, his sound is pretty much the same. His technique and everything is pretty much the same. It's the stuff around him that's different. You know, now if you take what works and change it, you're taking a chance on finding out that the new thing doesn't work. I mean, you can always go back to the old thing, hopefully, but you know, but I think it's the stuff that's around it. It's the productions that, for me, it's the productions that matter, which is the stuff that's around it.
Yeah, because like I listened to and I know it's the machine too. I listened to Johnny's stuff. He did a few songs by himself, and then he had New Edition backing him up on one of his songs when Steve Harvey had a talk show. That song sounded like a pretty much typical marketable sound, and what made it more marketable or sound more marketable was the fact that he had New Edition backing him up. And I think he gave Ricky Bell.
Ralph.
No, well, Ricky, you know, he did Ralph too, but
Ricky?
he gave Ricky Bell a part in this song when they did that show on Steve Harvey. And it sounded nice. Now, of course, he's done more with Ralph, like you're alluding to. And I think those songs sound good, but the difference, as you probably already know, when you've got the record label behind you pushing it, for some reason it seems to just work so much better because you've got all this push, all this promotion, and you know it's heard all the time, and you know, but he's not far off the mark from his normal sound that we're used to hearing from a Johnny Gill. And similar to Jamie Foxx just came out with a new song. I guess there's an album, but he's not with the label. And he said, "Hey, I want to thank you guys for supporting, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada." He's got this song out. But again, he's not with the label. So there's no machine pushing it. You know, what's your thoughts on everyone being independent these days, even the seasoned performers?
Well, I think independence is the way to go right now. I mean, you know, like you said, even the seasoned artist is becoming independent. First of all, you work so hard to achieve, you know, whatever it is, and most people want to you know, get more rewards, more money. Right. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's that kind of thing. Also, I think a lot of times when the artist sign a deal, they didn't understand what the deal was. Later on, they're saying, you know, they're being robbed and all this other stuff like that, but you just didn't understand what the deal was. If you were to take it as some kind of regular deal, whereas I want you to invest in me, so you take $10 and you take that $10 and you make whatever it is. You want, and then I want, you want to recoup your money, but then I want the physical thing that you made, which is yours because you bought it, but I want it, and I want you to give it to me. I don't think you do that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that they understand what, you know, they understood or still understand the difference with the deal. That's why if you go independent, you own your stuff. You own your masters. You own your stuff. You didn't sign a deal, sign away your rights and your merch and your 360 deals and all that other stuff like that, and you're better off. And, you know, the established artists, they realize that too. You know,
I tell you, I know for myself, you know, kind of backtracking, you know, in between gigs, I think it's important that artists don't get lazy, don't get comfortable. I'll say don't get comfortable. That's probably a better word, because we all have a right to take a break. If you just did a big show, or you've done a show that required a lot from you. But for me, I know I've gotten comfortable, but my comfort has turned into laziness at times. You got to keep the machine moving, as they say. When you don't have the momentum, it's hard to regain the momentum. So you've got to keep the momentum so that, keep things working. You keep people asking about you. You keep the opportunities open for you. Like if I had not, for example, went to this particular establishment and tried to get a gig for the band, it would have never happened. But once it went well, and the first one was like sold out, I was like, oh, wow, that made it easy for them to have us come back. And when we came back, we didn't have a problem either. And now yet the third time we're going back again, but now we got to push. We got to push because we may have gotten a little comfortable, but we got to push because the momentum is not the same, but we're in the same spot. So what do you think, like how often not should you perform, but how often or how easy is it for you to get played? Meaning that how quickly do people get tired of you?
Well, I think about well, I always equate that to your friends and your family. You have 2 shots with them, 3 if you're lucky. After that, unless you have something fantastic, they're done with you. So what you really need to do is so like you say, keep up the momentum. Well, I think that's part of the problem. The problem is that if you keep up, if I do a gig this month and then I do it in the same spot the next month and I do it again in the same spot the next month, I've ran through my crowd. I ran through my following. They've had it with me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think now today, I think there's too much on massive content, doing it, over and over and over again. I think you need to spread it out a little bit. You got to give it a little time to breathe. Make them miss you, man. Make them want you. Make them want you. Want you to come back.
I gotta pay my bills. What I'm gonna do in between, man?
Well, you're gonna have to do some other spots. You're gonna have to get some other people. You're gonna have to increase your contacts in your list and stuff like that. You're gonna, this way, when you feel you can try to fill a spot with different people in different areas, or same spot, different people. Depends on how you get it.
Right.
Fill the same spot, but it's different people all the time, then I think that'll work out.
Gotcha. All right. What would you recommend for, I guess, younger artists or newer artists? Because as you know, it's one thing to come into the music space and, you're doing a performance, but are you doing original material? Are you doing cover songs? How do you keep your thing fresh? How do you keep your performance interesting? How do you come out as a new or aspiring artist and hit the ground running? And it's good. You get a good return on your investment of time and your performance. You get a good following. I know you need to have your own database. I get that part, but as far as the actual performance aspect, what should a new artist do?
New artists should do your own music, do your own original music. Most people. So if I do covers, do some covers, do some covers so that people are familiar with you. But the majority of your gig should be your own music. this way, when people come to see you, they come to see you do your thing. They come to see you do whatever it is that you do, and you get people who like your music, and they come to see your music, and they become your fans or super fans or whatever, whatever the case may be. If you're doing covers, which I know a lot of people are. I know an enormous amount of people who do covers, but when I go home, then I just find the record and play the record, or find the original group. So, what I would really want them to do is listen to my stuff. Get used to hearing me, get used to hearing my thing. So it may be 100 people in the place and only 10 people like my stuff, but I'd rather those 10 people than the other 90 who was just not interested. I need to get more people like those 10. And then you have a dedicated fan, and you have a niche, which is whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that your performance, your outlook, your whole thing. And people can only see that the stuff that you do when you perform at what the location is. Whereas if you do a bunch of covers, the next week another band is doing those covers.
Yeah, in most cases you're right. Yeah.
I used to do, well, I probably will do it again, but I used to handle some of these outdoor festivals over here. And how many you got 10 groups, and out of 10 groups, 6 groups is doing Before I Let Go. And I'm like, please let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Before I let it go already. All right.
Please, one is trying to do it better than the next. It's like nobody's going to do it better than Frankie Beverly. And all the stuff that you're covering, you got to realize this, all the stuff that you're covering was someone else's original.
Right. Yeah. Where them fans at?
You need to do yours. You know what I'm saying? You need to do yours. Before I Let Go was an original for somebody and became popular. You need to do yours.
What did you think about the way Beyonce did it?
No.
You like the original better?
I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all good. I think she did a good job. I think the original stands on its own, though. It didn't need any help, but kudos to her. Whatever. Yeah.
I think whatever song it is, or whatever song is released, I think everybody and anybody who wants to redo it should do it. Yeah. Because there are people who, well, I can't think of anybody who don't like Frankie Beverly's Before I Let Go, but there are people who might not like Beyonce's Before I Let Go, but might like Kelly Rowland's, Before I Let Go.
She did it too?
No, but I'm just saying, the thing is it's the writing and the publishing on that is working on that particular end. So, Earth, Wind and Fire do Before I Let Go. Commodores do Before I Let, that's all in the publishing thing.
It's funny. Talking about Earth, Wind and Fire, they have Can't Hide Love. You know that song, Can't Hide Love. You
sure.
Want my money. Well, Lucky Day did it over with Babyface and the remaining members of Earth, Wind and Fire. And I like it, man. But I know some guys that grew up in our age range, in our era, they're like, nah, man, I don't like it. But I think it was clever. And it's not that it's so different. It's just that it's a fresh take. It's got a little snap, or, like when you wear an outfit, all you got to do in your pocket square, you may have a different color of a handkerchief that maybe matches your shirt or your tie, and all of a sudden the outfit pops. To me, when they did Can't Hide Love, it just pops. It's a little different. Now, I'll always like the original, though, but yeah. But yeah, but I think gigging is there's more to it than people realize. The before, the during, the after, even the mindset. Do you need personally quiet before you do a gig, or do you have to meditate? Is any of that important for you as a performer when whether you're singing or playing or both?
Quiet. Where can I buy some of that? There's never quiet, man. Quiet. Where can I get some? It's never quiet.
Well, what about peace of mind? How about that?
They sell that too.
Oh,
man. Okay.
If you get quiet, you get peace of mind half off.
listen. If I can buy that, man, let me. Hey, point me to where I can get it. But I mean, if you get a quiet moment, it's great, stuff like that. But it's usually fast paced and everything is going. And sometimes if it's too quiet, it can mess me up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
If it's sometimes if you get too relaxed and stuff is so easy, stuff is so mellow and things like that, it can mess you up there too.
So is this version of Carl that we're speaking with right now? We got several comments I didn't even see. Is this version of Carl the same version of Carl when it's showtime?
No, not at all.
That's fair enough.
No. Showtime, I'm going to act up. As a matter of fact, that's one of the lines that I come out with. Say, listen here, I'm going to act up. Just want y'all to know.
Right.
Everybody in the front row, get ready.
Prince taught that hard lesson on being independent. Yeah, sure enough.
Sure, yeah. Yep.
Thanks, man.
That's right.
Thanks for jumping in there.
That's right.
Leave them wanting more. I think that's what we try to do with my band, Soul City Collective. You've got 2 45-minute sets, and I'll be quite frank, I don't believe that we play 45 thorough minutes of music per set, maybe half an hour, because what I try to do is leave time for intros, solos, crowd engagement. So it does fill up. We meet the requirements of what they're asking, but we don't want to just play 45 minutes of straight music and then get off, and then play 45 minutes of straight music and then get off. The engagement is part of the whole process for us. So, yeah. I like your idea of having a surprise special guest. Yeah, we have for this Saturday, a surprise special guest that's going to be performing. And so I'll make that announcement at the show. Sure. And I intentionally didn't say musician, vocalist, male, female.
It's supposed to be a surprise.
Yeah, so
when you go outside and bring the goat in to sing, it'll be a surprise.
It's gonna be bad.
Bad. Yeah.
Innovative arrangements and feature unique styling. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that and that's something that I had to learn, because I know that when I was doing John Legend, I noticed at a certain point, if you do the song the way it's recorded, there's nothing wrong with that, but it becomes like you're lullabying them to sleep. It's too sing song, what is it? Sing song-ish, whatever. So we're starting to do it a little different. We hit the song, then we move on to the next song. You don't have to do it note for note, minute for minute, because it just draws out the performance and people lose interest. That's what I found. I've learned anyway. So,
well, I never, I don't think I never do it the way that the artist does it. I do that song my way.
But what about the fact that people sometimes really like the song the way it was recorded, period?
then they just don't like me. That's it. You know, like I said, I need out of the 100 people, I need the 10 people, you know,
Right.
that comes to see me, because those 10 people will come to the next one. You know,
Right.
the other 90 is not going to come regardless. You know,
They then that's your key customer, your ideal customer. Yeah,
you
I hear
know,
that.
so you know, but even when I did tracks and stuff, I would make my own track. I wouldn't even get tracks or you know, find tracks or whatever. I'd make my own the way that I want to do it. And then I like a lot of big chords and you know, full chords and stuff, and the full production kind of thing. And the intro is different and definitely a different key, you know,
Right.
because if it's out of range, then I definitely, you know, want it in the key that I can do it in, that, you know, that I can handle, that I can do it better. So
for sure. You ever do any inspirational type stuff?
I've done some stuff, yeah.
Original?
Both.
Just cover. Okay.
Both.
Okay.
You know, yeah, both.
Yeah, man. Well, folks, if you just joined, Carl T. Smith and I, we were talking about gigging, performing, you know, the beginning of a gig, in between a gig, the mindset that you have when you've done a performance, anything that's gone wrong, you know, why you like performing, almost all things about performing, again, because this is something we've both done for quite some time. And, you know, we don't know the other way of going about doing, well, I guess we do know other things, but we're kind of like sucked into the machine, to be honest with you.
Too dumb to quit. I told you that earlier.
Yeah. You know, oh, I know. You know, when I asked you a few moments ago, I says, "Is this the same Carl as Showtime?" My sweetheart has told me that on a Showtime, I'm funny. I act sometime or something. I missed the show. I've tried to explain to her, it's a different mindset. It's nothing. I'm a different guy per se, but I'm in a zone where I'm thinking about the show, the people, the band, and you know how much time we're working on. I'm thinking about all these other things. I'm not thinking about the personal Charles. You know, I'm not in that space. I'm embodying Charles the performer, you know, and looking the part, you know. But there are times when I can be my normal self, but there are a few moments here and there within the day of the performance or while at the performance. And hopefully she got that now. I don't know. But you know, because the last thing any artist needs is an emotional distraction that prevents them from giving their all to the audience. So yeah, so but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Well, with that being said, folks, you know, we always appreciate you guys being here with us and sharing the time with us. And as we get ready to, you know, get ready for the next one, remember, you got to be part of the energy. You know, we didn't show any of the banners today, but, you know, until next time, if I can figure this thing out, be part of the
You're sexy, so good to me.
Yeah, man, that was pretty interesting. That was